Invictus Aqua 2016 versus 2024. Are these the same? Is one better than the other? Is this the answer to all our prayers? Let's dive in. So what's the story with Invictus Aqua? Why should we be so excited about this brand new 2024 release? The 2016 version of Invictus Aqua, the very first version, obviously a flanker of the original Invictus, got a lot of praise within the community. Lots of people were saying it was the best version of Invictus, even better than the original. A great fragrance, and I concur. I really enjoy the 2016 version of Invictus Aqua. It's playful enough, it's lively enough, it's youthful enough. It's not as juvenile, it's not as bubblegum sweet playful as the original Invictus. It is a little more grown up, perhaps a little more refined, which is what I really enjoyed about it. It's got a salty marine accord. It's got a great yuzu note in there, which provides a citrusy, invigorating sourness. All these things combined with a little tinsy bit of that sweet bubblegum Invictus DNA in the background make for a fantastic fragrance. Fast forward 2 years later, and in 2018 it was reformulated. It came out with different branding, different packaging, different coloured bottle, different coloured juice. It was not the same fragrance. Nobody really knows why it was reformulated. Maybe they just wanted to change it up for the sake of changing it up. Maybe certain ingredients became unavailable to Paco Rabanne. For whatever reason, fragrance enthusiasts, fragrance lovers had to deal with something that happens all too often to us. A fragrance we love gets taken away. So we don't know why Invictus changed between 2016 and 2018. We don't really know the answer, but what we do know is it was different. My take on it is that it was a little sweeter, it was more rounded, it wasn't quite as fresh, it wasn't as vigorating, it was less impactful, so not as good. It was still a nice fragrance. I enjoyed wearing it, but it wasn't as punchy, it wasn't as invigorating. I don't think it was as grown up as Invictus Aqua. Then this year, something happened. Rabanne made an announcement that they would be bringing back Invictus Aqua in its original form. They mentioned on their website that they understood, they listened to what the fans wanted. Big designer brands don't usually engage or acknowledge with the people who are buying their fragrances. So this is quite a refreshing change, and I applaud Rabanne for doing this, for acknowledging that their customers really enjoyed Invictus Aqua 2016 and were a little bit sad that they couldn't buy it anymore. Well, let's find out if Rabanne have managed to pull it off with the new Invictus Aqua 2024. Is it exactly the same? Is it the answer to our prayers? Quick look at the presentation. It is pretty much the same. Please ignore the writing on my 2016 bottle. This is actually a tester. The retail versions did not have Aqua written on the front here, but other than that, it is pretty much exactly the same. There's a slight different color in the frosted glass. That could be because my 2016 is a little older. Maybe the glass has slightly changed in coloration over time. Obviously, on the reverse, it says Rabanne instead of Paco Rabanne, and then on the button on the sprayer on top, we've got the R, which is the new branding for Rabanne. We don't have anything on the 2016 version. So the bottles are almost exactly the same, and that's the same for the scent. I've given both of these fragrances multiple wearings. I've worn them both at the same time on different hands so I can test them side by side. I've worn them fully at different times as well, independent of each other. So I've given myself a good opportunity to really test out both these fragrances. Is it the same smell? Yeah, pretty much. It's the same Invictus Aqua 2016 DNA in that we have that salty marine accord. We've got a little bit of the Invictus in the background. It is essentially the same DNA, which you'll be pleased to hear. So if you were really disappointed that you could no longer buy the 2016 version and you felt that going on auction websites was ridiculous, paying the amounts of money that people are asking for, then you'll be very pleased with this release. Like the original, it's punchy, it's impactful, it's great for daytime summer wear, it's actually great for evening summer wear. I think it does have a really nice level of sophistication to the fragrance, considering it is sort of a fun, freshy style of scent, but I think it is refined enough to be able to pull it off if you're a little bit older and if you want to wear something that is a little more refined for the evenings. So I was really pleased to find that it's pretty much the same smell, doing exactly the same job. I mentioned almost the same. Let's talk about that. There is a bit of a difference to me. I'm going to preface this section with talking about the fact that the original 2016 bottle is now quite a few years old. It's sat on my shelf in darkness. It's not been in heat or in sunlight, so I don't think it's been destroyed. Some say that fragrances can change in the bottle over time. A certain amount of maceration can occur. Maybe it's that. Interestingly, I've talked about how Invictus Aqua is a better version of Invictus because it isn't as sweet. I find that 2016 has a little bit more sweetness than 2024. And not only that, it also has a little bit more depth. It feels like there is something more going on. It feels like maybe the ingredients are better in 2016 than what they've used in the new one. There's something there. There's that little bit of extra magic that's hard to put your finger on, but there is a difference. The best way I can describe it is, other than saying that 2016's got a little bit more depth, in the background, when you smell it closer up on skin, it does have almost a sweet root beerish quality. I'd never noticed that in Invictus Aqua before. It had never occurred to me until I was testing it side by side with the newer version, and there's a little bit of root beer sweetness in there. Just a tiny bit. I don't think you can actually smell this very much in the air. This is going close up on skin. In the air, they largely smell exactly the same, but close up on skin, which obviously I'm doing because I'm making a comparison video. Most of you probably aren't going to be doing that, but 2016 does have a little bit of a different smell, a slightly better smell. It's a little bit deeper, it's a little bit richer, and actually a little more rounded. I asked my wife to smell the differences. I had them on both hands, and she felt that 2016 was a little softer. She described it as that. Obviously, she's not used to talking about fragrances, so perhaps that wasn't the right word, but I think I know what she means. 2016 is a little sweeter, a little more rounded, and I think that added depth made her think that it was a slightly softer fragrance. As I said, this could simply be that it's been in the bottle longer, or it could be that slightly different ingredients were available. The ones that were originally unavailable for 2016 maybe were still unavailable for 2024, so that's why the smell is just ever so slightly different. It's 95% there. Generally, it is exactly the same smell. It's going to give you most of the things that you loved about Invictus 2016. Definitely smells much closer to 2016 than 2018. That was very far away from 2016, and 2024 is extremely close. It's almost like reviewing a clone, a really good clone of a fragrance. It's so close, but not exactly the same. I've obviously been comparing these two fragrances side by side, but if you own 2016 back in the day and you've long since run out and you buy 2024, I think you will smell it and think it is exactly the same. If you've not got 2016 to directly compare it to side by side like I did, you probably won't notice any difference. So if you long for Invictus Aqua and you don't want to pay silly online prices, I think you would be really happy with this new 2024 release. Another reason to be really happy, performance seems exactly the same. I get the same sort of initial projection. I get the same longevity. Each fragrance is performing exactly the same. I do just want to end this little bit talking about the differences in saying that after about an hour, the fragrances do seem to align and become pretty much the same. I felt that it is just the first hour where I'm picking up on this little bit of a difference. After that first hour, we're good. So do I think you should buy this? Yes. For everyone. If you've never smelled Invictus Aqua before, I think it's definitely worth a buy. It's an easy fragrance to like. It is a limited edition, so we're not sure how long this will be available for again. So maybe even this version will one day be going for silly prices on eBay. If you currently own 2016 Invictus Aqua, I'd say maybe still buy it so you've got a backup bottle, because as I said, we don't know how long 2024 will be available for, and you don't want to kick yourself down the line if you didn't pick up a bottle when it was at reasonable, normal retail prices. People who should not buy this fragrance are those that didn't really dig on original 2016. If you didn't enjoy that fragrance, do not buy this, because it is pretty much exactly the same DNA. All right, I think that'll do it. I can't think of anything else I need to say about these fragrances. If I've missed anything, please do ask me in the comments below. I will do my best to answer your burning questions. Currently, this does only seem to be available on the UK version of Rabanne's website. I know that stinks for you guys in the States. I can't see why. they won't release it in the States. It would seem really strange that they're not releasing it there, so hopefully it will come over the pond. You guys will have the opportunity to also pick this one up, because I know many of you out there are very interested and a bit frustrated that you can't currently buy it. So keep an eye on the US version of Rabanne's website and see if you can also grab it at some point. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, it really helps. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you do all that, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, bye.